Buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy.
How can you truly enjoy the meal unless you know the flavor? Welcome back, ABL fans. This is Big Earl, your trusted voice in Action Baseball League analysis, coming at you with our 18th installment of Deep Dive 25. Watch your fingers, because we're about to slice, dice, and dissect all the nuances of this great league. A sincere nod to the sports journalist at the Arizona Republic for your engaging and humorous columns. Your approachable and entertaining style in covering the team resonates well with your readers. Okay, ABL fanatics, let's do this. Whether it's the Western Wildcards, the Eastern Powerhouses, or the Central Workhorses, we're covering it all. See it for yourself. The Phoenix Firebirds in the Western Division of the NBC, a team with a flair for the dramatic and a history of ups and downs. Led by a balanced owner and a mix of experienced and fresh coaching staff, they have a knack for surprising their fans. Their financial muscle and fan fervor make them a formidable force, yet their on-field performances often leave something to be desired. Watch them closely, folks. The Firebirds are a team that can ignite at any moment, making every season an unpredictable adventure. If you're one of those folks who can't get enough of the nitty-gritty, the ins and outs, the ups and downs of ABL baseball, then this deep dive is for you. It's like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You never know what treasure you're gonna find. Grab a cold glass of lemonade and dust off those hiking boots, because we're delving into a team as multifaceted and vibrant as Phoenix's sprawling desert landscapes and bustling city life.
Question 1. How does the owner's personality and negotiation style influence the team's culture and performance?
Balanced or boring? The Phoenix Firebirds walk the Dutcher tightrope. The Phoenix Firebirds, where moderation isn't just a lifestyle, it's the owner's mantra. Mike Dutcher, 57 years young and 23 seasons deep, is your everyman's owner. Fair rep, normal personality, works well with the temperamental types, but, ironically, struggles with the normal folks. Go figure. His financial plans are as balanced as a teeter-totter, so don't expect champagne wishes and caviar dreams. But hey, he's happy and wants a winning record this season. Championship by 82? That's the ticket. Now, his front office is as mixed as a bag of trail nuts, some salty, some sweet. We've got the hitting coach Elliott Bell, a controlling yet easygoing fella, and then there's the GM Brian Summers, who somehow manages to be both. So, what's the hot take here? Dutcher's middle-of-the-road philosophy trickles down to the dugout. Whether that's enough mustard to hit a championship home run, only time will tell. But remember, folks, sometimes you've got to take a big swing to knock one out of the park.
Question 2. What roles do the front office and coaches play in the team's success or struggles? Are they aligned with the owner's vision?
The front office follies. Can the Firebirds brain trust deliver on Dutcher's dream? Let's see here. If it isn't the Phoenix Firebirds, where the front office reads like a recipe for mom's meatloaf, some of this, a pinch of that, and let's hope it all sticks together. You've got GM Brian Summers, who's so outstanding he practically glows in the dark. 10 years in and he's still swinging, the perfect guy to deal with Dutcher's balanced checkbook. Then there's the coaching crew, a potpourri of personalities and strategies. Elliott Bell is all about contact hitting, but sometimes you gotta swing for the bleachers, buddy. Fernando Chavez is the finesse man, but let's be real, finesse won't always get you home safe. As for Chris Doyle, he's as easygoing as they come, but when that temper flares, watch out. Overall, they seem aligned with Dutcher's win it by 82 mantra, but hey, this is baseball. Anything can happen, especially when you're dealing with a league as wild as the ABL. So keep your eyes peeled, Firebirds fans. Either this bird's gonna soar, or we're looking at some roast phoenix for dinner.
Question 3. How does the team's financial health reflect in its performance?
Show me the money. Are the Phoenix Firebirds cashing in on their financial muscle? Ladies and gents, let's talk dollars and cents, or should I say, the Phoenix Firebirds are making sense of their dollars. With a beefy payroll of $13.2 million and a budget that stretches like a seventh-inning stretch to $15.6 million, you'd think they were printing money. Well, guess what? They kinda are. Season ticket sales are hotter than a Phoenix summer, and media revenue is no slouch either. The fans? Oh, they're all in. We're talking a packed house nearly every game and fan interest maxed out like a rookie's credit card. So, with an owner gunning for a championship by 82, the big question is, are they getting bang for their buck or just buckling under the weight of those bucks? The stage is set, the finances are there. Now it's up to the Firebirds to show that money can indeed buy happiness, or at least a championship. Keep your eye on this team, folks. They're as interesting as a 2-out, bases-loaded situation in the bottom of the ninth.
Question 4. How has fan interest evolved over time, and what does it mean for the team's revenue and player acquisitions?
Fan frenzy, Phoenix Firebirds blessing and curse. Hold on to your peanuts and Cracker Jack, folks, because the Phoenix Firebirds have a fan base that's more loyal than a golden retriever. If fan interest were stocks, you'd be kicking yourself for not investing in 72 when it was a mere 83. Because, baby, it's been mostly bull market ever since, peaking at a whopping 100 multiple times. But there's the rub. A fan base this rabid isn't just clapping for foul balls, they want grand slams and championship banners. Sure, the team's rolling in dough, with over $10 million in total revenue, giving them the financial firepower to land big fish in the player pond. But listen up, they're already splashing around $13.2 million in payroll, so any new guy better be more clutch than a manual transmission. With the clock ticking toward Dutcher's 82 championship deadline, the Firebirds are under the magnifying glass, and let me tell you, in Phoenix, that can start a fire. So, will they be heroes or just another cautionary tale? Grab your popcorn, this is gonna be good.
Question 5. What is the current mood among the fan base, and how could it impact the team in the short term?
Fan fever in Phoenix, a boom or bust scenario for the Firebirds. Hey folks, grab your foam fingers because Phoenix is on fire. No, not literally, calm down. The Firebirds fan base is buzzing like a beehive in summer, filling up nearly 96% of the stadium. We're talking a fan interest score that's a straight A student at 100. Now, this kind of home crowd can be the extra shot of espresso in your morning latte, giving players that jolt to turn singles into doubles and maybe, just maybe, losses into wins. But hold the phone, high stakes often mean high stress. Every at-bat becomes a mini-drama, every pitch a cliffhanger. So, what's it gonna be, Firebirds? Will this electric atmosphere light your path to glory, or will the pressure cook you like an egg on a Phoenix sidewalk? The ball's in your court, or should I say, field. Either way, it's showtime in Phoenix, and we're all here for the main event.
Question 6. How is the team faring in the league standings, and what factors are contributing to their performance?
Diamond in the rough. Firebirds struggling to shine where it counts. Hey Firebirds fans, grab a seat, you might need it. Your beloved Phoenix team is stumbling like a toddler in tap shoes, sporting an 8-11 record. With a win percentage of .421 and lagging 4 games behind the leaders, it's time to hit the panic button, or at least give it a good side eye. Run differential? A cringeworthy -25. That's less differential and more like a chasm. Even the home field isn't helping, they're 3-6 in their own backyard. And don't even get me started on the strength of schedule at 546. No free lunches here, folks. So, what's causing the fizzle? They can't hit or pitch their way out of a paper bag right now. And remember, in a town as hot as Phoenix, you don't want to be the one throwing cold water on the fans' fiery passion. Time to step up, Firebirds, before this season goes up in smoke.
Question 7. What are the team's odds of making the playoffs on a divisional and conference level?
Long odds and Cinderella dreams, Firebirds playoff hopes hanging by a thread. Oh boy, Firebirds fans, you might want to sit down for this one, maybe even lie down. With an 8-11 record, the playoff odds for your feathered favorites are slimmer than a bat handle, sitting at a measly 4.3%. Heck, they've got a better chance of landing the league's worst record at 11.6% than winning the division at 2.1%. And as for having the league's best record, a familiar goal in these parts, let's just say you've got a better chance of catching a foul ball while blindfolded. Those odds are a pitiful 0.1%. Sure, in baseball, miracles happen, but right now, the Firebirds would need a fairy godmother, a magic wand, and maybe a pumpkin that turns into a bullpen. So, will they pull off a Cinderella story, or are we looking at a pumpkin at midnight? Tick-tock, Firebirds, time to prove if you're the belle of the ball or just another wallflower.
Question 8. How do base runs and ELO ratings paint a picture of the team's true strengths and weaknesses?
The cold, hard math, Firebirds base runs and ELO ratings signal trouble. Hey, stat geeks and casual fans alike, grab your calculators and rally caps. We've got some numbers to crunch for the Phoenix Firebirds. Now, in the base runs department, they're scoring fewer runs than my grandma at a bingo game, sitting at 63 actual versus 66 expected. On the flip side, they're allowing runs like free samples at a food court, 88 actual versus 90 expected. That gives them a run differential that's more negative than a critic at a bad movie. As for ELO ratings, well, they've dropped faster than a hot potato, going from a promising 1,548.9 at the start of the 81 season to a current 1,526.9. Even their 7-day average is flatlining like a joke with no punchline. So, what's the takeaway? The Firebirds are underperforming on both offense and defense, and the ELO says they're not even meeting low expectations. Time to wake up, Phoenix, because these numbers are more than just a bad dream. They're a wake-up call that could lead to a nightmare season.
Question 9. What does the team's WAR indicate about its most valuable players?
War games, Firebirds pitchers shine while batters lag behind. Well, Phoenix Firebirds fans, if you're scratching your head wondering why your team is sitting at an 8-11 record, look no further than the WAR numbers. It's like a baseball version of Beauty and the Beast, only here, the pitchers are the beauties with a WAR of 1.41, and the batters are, well, not exactly bell of the ball at a paltry 0.35. The numbers scream that the pitchers are carrying this team like a St. Bernard rescuing a lost hiker. But those batters? They need to realize they're not in the dugout for their good looks. The total WAR is 1.76, and when you subtract that from the 8 wins, you get 6.24. Translation? A handful of players are keeping this ship from sinking. So, Firebirds, it's time for the batters to step up because right now, your pitchers are doing the heavy lifting, and even they can't win games if the bats stay silent.
Question 10. How have injuries impacted the team's performance and depth?
The injury bug bites. How health woes have sidelined the Firebirds' hopes. Hey there, Phoenix Firebirds fans. If you're wondering why your team's performance has more hiccups than a pub door on St. Paddy's Day, just take a gander at the injury list. Ranked 3rd in the ABL for injuries, they've got 5 players on the DL, ouch. That's 83 days of sitting out and a whopping $224,000 of your payroll collecting dust instead of bases. It's like a baseball version of musical chairs, only nobody's laughing. The starting lineup? Compromised. The bench depth? Thinner than my hairline. And let's not forget, this is a team whose lifeline is its pitching staff. With injuries piling up, it's like trying to paddle upstream without a canoe. So, the Firebirds are down but not out. Injuries might explain the slump, but they won't excuse it. Time to patch up and play ball, Phoenix.
Question 11. What do the team's batting statistics reveal about its offensive capabilities?
The Firebirds' batting woes, swinging between mediocre and meh. Hey, ABL fans. Let's talk turkey about the Phoenix Firebirds' offensive stats, or should I say, their inoffensive stats. Look, with an OPS of 666, they're more cursed than a black cat walking under a ladder. Their ISO's a paltry 109, heck, even my grandma hits harder than that, and she uses a cane. Batting average? A whole 249. Don't even get me started on the walk percentage, 6.51%. What are we doing, the cha-cha? They've got 9 stolen bases, but with 4 caught stealings, it's like they're running in molasses. And that strikeout percentage? 18.2%, folks. The only thing they're striking is out. So, the verdict? The Firebirds' bats need to wake up, or they're going to be the punchline of the season. Time to put down the feather dusters and pick up some lumber, okay, Phoenix?
Question 12. How does the pitching staff stack up against divisional and conference competition?
The Firebirds' pitching, mediocre's the name, average is the game. Hey there, ABL aficionados. Pull up a chair and let's talk about the Phoenix Firebirds' pitching. If their ERA and FIP were SAT scores, they'd be headed to a state school, 4.34 and 4.65, respectively. Not flunking, but not acing it either. Their XFIP whispers, hey, I could have been a contender, sitting at 4.07. But let's get real, a strikeout percentage of 16.6% won't scare any batters, and giving free passes like an 8.65% walk rate is like throwing a party and inviting the whole neighborhood. Then there's the home run debacle, 21 dingers allowed. Ouch! The Firebirds pitchers aren't the Achilles heel, but they're no Hercules either. If they want to soar, they've got to go from lukewarm to sizzling. Light that fire, Phoenix, or get ready for a long, smoky summer.
Question 13. Are the team's fielding statistics a strength or a weakness?
Field of Screams, the Firebirds' defensive dilemma. Hey, ABL fans, grab your gloves. Not that the Phoenix Firebirds seem to be using theirs much. When your total zone rating, ZR, is a cringeworthy minus 2.73, you're basically rolling out a welcome mat for opposing runners. Sure, the infield is putting up an okayish fight, but the outfield is more like out of field. Those ZRs in left and right are about as welcome as a skunk at a garden party. Defensive efficiency at 0.696? More like defensive inefficiency. 9 errors already, folks. 9. That's not a stat, that's a cry for help. But hey, they've turned 17 double plays, so it's not all gloom and doom. Still, if they don't sharpen up with the leather, they'll be watching the playoffs from their couches. Time to field like you mean it, Firebirds.
Question 14. What do base running stats say about the team's tactical approach?
The Firebirds' base running blunders. Playing it safe or just playing it wrong? Ahoy, ABL enthusiasts! Let's chat about the Phoenix Firebirds base running, a topic that's got fans scratching their heads like they're deciphering a Sudoku puzzle. With a stolen base percentage of 50%, the Firebirds are about as reliable on the base paths as a weather forecast. I mean, 6 successful steals and 6 times caught? What's next? A game of rock, paper, scissors to decide if you run? And let's talk about that weighted stolen bases, WSB, of minus 0.77. With 119 singles and 46 walks, they've had more opportunities to steal than a cat burglar in an open vault, yet they're just loafing around. 0 intentional walks? Seems like opposing pitchers are as scared of their base runners as a lion is of a house cat. Phoenix, your base running tactics are less run and gun and more sit and quit. Time to kick it into gear.
Question 15. Who are the standout performers in batting, and what do their stats reveal?
Nick Perez, the one-man show in Phoenix's lineup. Hey there, ABL aficionados. Let's tip our caps to Nick Perez, the lone bright spot in the Phoenix Firebirds' otherwise murky batting lineup. At 32, this left fielder is aging like fine wine, boasting a batting average of .371 that'd make Ty Cobb blush. The man's on-base percentage is .463. He's basically a walking welcome mat to first base. And let's not forget that WAR of 0.81. He's practically a one-man army out there. Sure, his ISO is a meager 0.0857, but who needs the long ball when you're a base-hitting, base-stealing machine? 3 stolen bases say he's not just loafing around after he hits. So, here's the deal. Nick Perez is basically the Firebirds' offense, defense, and, heck, let's throw in special teams too. If Phoenix is looking for a blueprint to success, they've got one in Perez. Keep doing you, Nick. You're the hero Phoenix needs, if not the one it deserves.
Question 16. Who are the key figures in the pitching staff, and how do they influence games?
The pitching crew of Phoenix, a tale of aces, firemen, and problem children. Firebirds fans, gather round as we break down the headliners and heartbreakers of Phoenix's pitching staff. Steven Grimes, the ace, is carrying this team on his back with an ERA as tiny as a flea on a mouse, 2.12. Then you've got the bullpen savior, Jose Contreras, who's more reliable than your grandma's meatloaf recipe, striking out hitters like he's swatting flies. But let's not forget Kerry Darling, the grizzled vet whose ERA may be a little plump, but hey, who isn't these days? Now, Nate Lucas, you're an enigma wrapped in a riddle and a high ERA. Time to step up or step aside. And Tony Zakate, buddy, with that ERA of 8.59, you're the pitching equivalent of a flat tire. So, here's the skinny. Phoenix, you've got an ace and a fireman, but you're also holding a couple of jokers. Time to reshuffle that deck if you want to be in the game.
Question 17. Who excels in base running and fielding, and how do they impact the game's outcome?
Speedsters and glove wizards, the unsung heroes of Phoenix Firebirds. Firebirds fans, get ready to doff your caps to the unsung heroes of your squad. First up, Nick Perez, who's not just swatting the ball but also swiping bases like a cat burglar, boasting a 75% success rate. Then we have Sam Ashworth, who's 37 and still stealing bases like he's stealing hearts, 100% successful. But let's not forget the magicians in the field. Josh Harrison in center is so good, he should charge fly balls rent for landing in his glove, rocking a zone rating of 1.912. And young Raul de la Torre at second base is smoother than a jazz saxophonist with his glove work, chalking up a ZR of 1.333. These fellas might not make the headlines, but they're making the plays that add W's to the record. Keep an eye on them, they're the spice in your Firebirds gumbo.
Question 18. What does the team's age demographic reveal about its experience and future potential?
Tick-tock on the Phoenix Firebirds age clock. Listen up, Firebirds fans, cause Father Time's got his eye on your team. With an average age of 31.79 in the big leagues, heck, the pitchers are practically AARP eligible at 33.25. Phoenix is more old man and the sea than the young and the restless. But don't stash away those rookie cards just yet. The farm system is bursting with spry young'uns, especially in the AA and single A levels. So, what's it gonna be, Phoenix? Hang tight with the seasoned pros who can weave tales of the days before the internet will welcome a fresh wave of young blood quicker than you can say Pac-Man fever. Time to make some decisions before the sands in the hourglass run out.
Question 19. Who has had the best batting and pitching games, and what do these performances signify for the team?
Firebirds flashes of brilliance, a glimpse of what could be. Hey there, Phoenix fans! If you're looking for glimmers of hope in the Firebirds season, look no further than the show-stopping performances by Sam Ashworth and Miles Brown at the plate and the mound mastery of Jose Contreras and Steven Grimes. Ashworth's 5 RBI day against the San Francisco Warriors was like watching Beethoven conduct the ninth, while Brown's pair of homers against the Miami Hurricanes had more pop than a soda factory. And let's talk about the pitching. Contreras delivered a meal of a game against Miami, a complete game shutout no less, while Grimes was slicing and dicing with 7 Ks in another bout against the Canes. These are the kind of performances that make you sit up and say, holy cow, we might just have a shot at something big here. Keep those eyes peeled, Firebirds aficionados, because if these guys can keep channeling their inner superheroes, Phoenix might just rise from the ashes.
Question 20. What does your gut tell you about this team in the 1981 championship season and the Grand Tournament of Champions?
The Phoenix predicament, destined for drama, not yet for glory. The sweet smell of freshly cut grass and the sound of a fastball popping into a catcher's mitt. It's baseball season, folks. Now let's talk about our beloved Phoenix Firebirds. They've got the goods to spice up the postseason, but winning the Grand Tournament of Champions, G2C, that's a taller order than a foot-long hot dog. They've got an ace in Steven Grimes who can shut down an offense faster than you can say peanuts and Cracker Jack, and Nick Perez. The man's a hitting machine with the clutch gene. Add in some grizzled veterans who've been around the bases a few times, and you've got yourself a playoff team. But here's the rub, their pitching depth has more holes than my grandma's crochet blanket. Injuries are lurking like an umpire waiting to make a bad call, and their wallet isn't exactly bursting at the seams. So, book your playoff tickets, but maybe hold off on reserving that parade route. It's gonna be a roller coaster of a season, and I'm all in for the ride.
Question 21. What is the team's history in the Grand Tournament of Champions?
A trip down memory lane, the Phoenix Firebirds roller coaster in the G2C. The storied history of the Phoenix Firebirds in the Grand Tournament of Champions, G2C, it's like a classic baseball movie with highs, lows, and a soundtrack that keeps you humming. They've tasted the champagne of victory in '75, but also suffered the bitterness of defeat, like getting swept by Chicago in '73. Recent years have been more about early exits than ticker tape parades. So, what's the takeaway as we barrel into the 1981 season? Phoenix is like that unpredictable cousin at family gatherings, capable of stealing the show or tripping over the appetizer table. They've got the legacy and the seasoned players to make a run for it, but consistency? That's as elusive as a foul ball in the stands. With the fan base itching for another title and the ghosts of '75 floating around, it's high time for Phoenix to show they're not just history, but also future contenders. Hold on to your caps, folks. This season could be one for the history books, or at least a footnotes section.
Question 22. What is the team's history in previous seasons?
Phoenix Firebirds, a tale of peaks, valleys, and the search for lost magic. The Phoenix Firebirds, a team as unpredictable as a knuckleball in a windstorm. They kicked off their existence in '72 with a decent show, then ramped up to a grand championship by '75. After that, it's been a zigzag of playoff runs and near misses, hitting their zenith with a 107-win season in '80. But this year, yikes! They're stumbling out of the gate like a sprinter with shoelaces tied together. Money's not the issue, their balance sheet's as strong as a garlic milkshake. It's the on-field performance that needs a pick-me-up. Given their roller coaster history, who's to say what'll happen? One thing's for sure, if they want to relive the glory days, they better start finding that mojo, and fast. After all, history's a great teacher, but it doesn't swing a bat or throw a fastball.
Question 23. What's your take on last season?
The 1980 Phoenix Firebirds, a symphony of triumph and tragedy. Folks, 1980 for the Firebirds was like a Hollywood blockbuster with a plot twist nobody saw coming. Picture this, they swagger through the regular season, pile up 107 wins, and with an ERA under 3, their pitchers were Picasso with a baseball. Fan-packed stands, a payroll bigger than a mountain, you'd think they were the Beatles of baseball. And then, playoffs roll around and they're less rock stars and more one-hit wonders. Taken down by the Detroit Dukes in a 4-1 series, leaving fans and wallets lighter. It's like biting into what you think is a chocolate chip cookie, only to find out it's oatmeal raisin. A year that promised so much ended up a cautionary tale in humility and unpredictability. So, what's the lesson? In baseball, you're never as good as your best day or as bad as your worst, but boy, that worst day sure stings.
Question 24. How does what happened in the 1980 season reflect on the 1981 early campaign?
The ghost of 1980, haunting the Firebirds' 1981 season. 1980, a year the Phoenix Firebirds would rather forget, but can't. You see, that playoff faceplant didn't just fade into the rearview mirror, it's in the passenger seat navigating the 1981 campaign. At 8-11, they're wrestling with the ghost of last season. Every loss is a deja vu, every error a flashback, and fans are about as patient as a cat on a hot tin roof. Players feel like they're walking a tightrope, trying to prove last year was a fluke, but whoopsie daisy, sometimes they fall off. Meanwhile, management's got fingers on the trapdoor lever. This season's slow start? Call it a hangover, but not the fun kind you get after a night of celebrating. No, this is the kind you get after a night you wish you could forget. So, can they exorcise last year's demons? Stay tuned, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Question 25. What is your take on the current roster?
From flames to fizzles, the 1981 Phoenix Firebirds Jekyll and Hyde act. The 1981 Phoenix Firebirds, what a mixed bag of nuts. On one hand, you've got Steven Grimes, the ace who's more reliable than your grandpa's pocket watch, and Nick Perez, who's hitting like he's got a personal vendetta against baseballs. Then you flip the coin and, yikes, there's Tony Zakate, whose ERA is so high it needs an oxygen mask. Injuries? Oh, they've got him. Joe Rogers is benched like a naughty kid in school, and losing Tony Calhoun for months is like losing your car keys during rush hour. Some guys are shining, like Sam Ashworth, while others, like Frank Green, couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. The team's like a roller coaster designed by a madman, thrilling highs, stomach-turning lows, and you're not quite sure it's safe. So, what's cooking, Firebirds? Time to figure it out before the 1981 season becomes a recipe for disaster. Well, there you have it, your up-close and personal deep dive into the Phoenix Firebirds. We've dissected their strengths, weaknesses, and everything in between. We've peeked into the owner's suite, dug into the dugout, and even scoped out the fans in the bleachers. And let me tell you, what a ride it's been. Like a well-pitched game, we've covered all the bases, but remember, baseball is a game of unpredictability. Just when you think you've got it figured out, it throws you a curveball. The Phoenix Firebirds, a team soaring through the regular season with the flair of a desert storm. But when it comes to the Grand Tournament of Champions, they've often flickered out like a mirage. Will this be the year they ignite and blaze a trail to victory, or are they destined to remain a tantalizing, yet unfulfilled promise in the ABL's grand saga? The Firebirds' tale is far from over, and the next chapter promises to be a page-turner. Big Earl here, folks. Keep your eyes peeled for future reports as we navigate through the twists and turns of another gripping ABL season. So, whether you're a fan of the Firebirds or just love the game, the best is yet to come. Until next time, this is the game. See it for yourself.
Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
See it for yourself.
How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.